Time for another month, which means it's time to check out what the new releases are for July of 2024. Let's jump in. The first game coming out in July is the Exit 8 VR. I'm not 100% sure what this game is, but it's cheap. It costs $5.99 to pre-order it. It's coming out on July 11th. After the release, it'll go up by $1. Still a really cheap game. The description says you're trapped in an endless underground passageway. Observe your surroundings carefully to reach the Exit 8. Make sure not to overlook any anomalies. If you find an anomaly, turn back immediately. If you don't find any anomalies, keep going. Kindly exit through Exit 8. The X8 VR is a short walking simulator inspired by Japanese underground passageways, liminal spaces, and back rooms. What you're seeing on screen right now is the flat version of the game. It's not the VR version because they haven't showed any VR gameplay as of yet. But that comes out in about 11 days. It's super cheap. I think it's going to be creepy. I don't know. And a lot of people seem to really like the flat version, so it's probably worth checking out. The next game coming out is also a very odd game called Death Game Hotel. This is coming out on July 11th. You can pre-order it now for $17.99. It goes up to $19.99 after release. It does say it has in-app purchases, so I'm not sure what's going to be in the game for that. This is like, it's interesting, okay? It's some sort of a game that you play, and one of them sounds the most interesting to me. I'll start off with that one. It's literally called Death Poker. You raise the stakes by betting your body parts. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work, but it says Death Poker. This adds a new death suit to traditional poker that trumps all the other suits. Players can raise the stakes even further by betting their body parts. It sounds like something very interesting. Apparently there's a single-player mode and a multiplayer mode. Single-player mode, it says in single-player mode, you're thrust into Death Game 2000, where you must battle against quirky foes for survival. Multiplayer mode raises the stakes, allowing players to create deadly games and compete against others globally. Goblet of the Reaper is another version, a game of strategy where players must drop tiles into a blood-filled goblet and keep it from overflowing. The first to empty their hand without causing a goblet to overflow wins. One overflow extinguishes a Reaper candle. When all are extinguished, the Reaper descends for one final death match. I don't know. This game sounds weird. Maybe you want weird. But Death Game Hotel, again, is coming out on July 11th. The next game is coming out on July 18th, and that is Brazen Blaze. This has been in open beta for a little while. In fact, I think it's still in open beta currently. Does come out on the 18th of this month. You can pre-order it for $12.99. It goes up to $14.99 after the fact. I actually did a video on the channel a while back about this game. It's a 3v3 combat game that has melee elements and destruction, and it was actually a lot more fun than I expected it to be when I played it. If you go on the store, you can search for Brazen Blaze Beta and test out the free open beta. The servers for the official game are going to open on July 18th, and there's going to be updates to the actual game and more going on to it. But if you like online multiplayer games, Brazen Blaze might be something that you're interested in. Next up is Thrasher. This is a game by the composer and artist of Thumper. If you've ever played Thumper, I actually played it originally on PlayStation VR, and I really like the game. It's music, it's unsettling, it's a weird kind of on-rails game, Thumper is. This game seems to be very different than that. This game comes out on July 25th. You can pre-order it now for $17.99, or it goes up to $19.99 on release. It says, from the artist and composer behind the cult hit Thumper comes Thrasher, a mind-melting arcade action odyssey and a visceral audio-visual experience. With the wave of your hand, guide a magnificent space eel through breathtaking and unsettling landscapes, swoop, dash, and thrash to defeat wild bosses in the ultimate race for survival. This uses hand tracking. It can use touch controllers as well, but it does support hand tracking. It's kind of out there, you know. Of course, Thumper was pretty out there too. If you're looking for an out there game that uses music and crazy art, Thumper's great, and this looks like it's going to be another game in a similar style. Zero Calibur 2, I've been talking about this for a while. We don't know a specific release date. It's supposed to be coming out in July, I should say. You can pre-order now for a 10% discount and a special weapon. It's $26.99 to pre-order, $29.99 after release. This is a true epic scale single-player first-person shooter for virtual reality. If you played the first one, then throw all your expectations out the window because this is infinitely better. It's a sequel, but it takes everything that the first game does and makes it so much better. The scale is huge, the guns are great, the AI is crazy because there's so many of them, especially. Not only does it have a full single-player campaign, it can be played in co-op as well, and it also has lots of unlockables, leveling, PvP, mod support. You name it, this game has it. Everything that they've added to Zero Calibur 1 over the years, like multiplayer PvP and mod support, this is launching with. So it's going to be a great game if you love those single-player style shooters. I personally think it's a fantastic game with tons of massive cinematic movie-style action, and I think people are going to really enjoy that part of the game. So for me, this is the must-have game of July, in my opinion, so keep an eye out for this game. I don't know when it'll launch. I would guess later in the month since we don't have a release date specifically, but we'll have to wait and see. And the last game on the list is Stabby. This game has been around for a while, like I mentioned in a previous video, in testing and stuff. It's cheap. It's available for pre-order right now. There's no specific release date announced yet. It's $7.99 for pre-order, which is 20% off, $9.99 at launch. This is a multiplayer game, although it can be played in single player as well. I'll read you the description because it's kind of unique. It says, Stabby is an intense multiplayer assassination-style game in VR. Players use immersive controls to stab everything. Want to scale buildings and parkour across the city? Stab. Reveal your targets and then drop from rooftops to eliminate them? Stab. Up to 6 players in a lobby can compete to see who's the best stabber with fully articulated avatars that they can customize to their liking. It says those 5 single-player challenge levels to test players' abilities to stab, as well as train them to become more effective in multiplayer games. Those are the single-player challenges. Each level has a 3-star rating system based on the time it took to complete, encouraging quick, decisive thinking, as well as replaying levels to obtain better times and rewards. You can customize your players' avatars and your weapons, show off your gear in multiplayer. There's 3 multiplayer modes, each with a different play style. There's Classic, King of the Hill, and Stab Tag. It says, hint, they all involve stabbing. Intense physics-driven gameplay and movement mechanics. Easy to pick up, but fun to master. Stabby's robust movement mechanics are driven by realistic physics, encouraging players to experiment and think creatively to achieve their goals. This game, I played around with in testing for a while, and it's gotten a lot more updates since then. And I had fun with it back then, just messing around with it. I have not played it in multiplayer. I'm very curious to see how that works and how it feels. But again, that's launching sometime this month for $9.99 at launch, $7.99 for pre-order. Well, there you go. That's all that's launching in July. Hopefully we get some more announcements. We're probably going to get some surprise drops, which is usually happens throughout the month. But as of right this moment, there is, 6 games coming out. Nothing coming out the beginning of July, it would seem, which is odd. Although I think the 4th of July, Independence Day, is on Thursday, which is probably why. So let me know what you think in the comments, which games you're looking forward to the most. If there's a specific game that you've pre-ordered or you want to play, for me, must-have game of the year, yeah. Well, I mean, maybe. Of the month is Zero Calibur 2. Beyond that, Stabby would be the other game I would recommend checking out. The other games are great, although I have only played Brazen Blaze. I haven't played Thrasher or Death Game Hotel or the Exit 8. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Don't forget to subscribe for more VR videos. And as always, happy questing.